support by default all the functions ranging from adding a creating a new file, creating inserting record data, inserting retrieving the data, updating or modifying the data, deleting particular file, and then removing the existing files from the database. Now we will see the applications built upon these DBMS packages. As I said, in the non-spatial domain, especially the databases have been in use since the 1960s for various applications, which includes online information system, banking systems. So these all typically comes under the non-spatial database management systems. In the 1960s, people have mainly used it for this inventory management systems. Now we have several categories in this non-spatial domain. The applications, you have the enterprise resource planning. Some of the databases they have used is SAP, BAN, and the PeopleSoft, Oracle, and IBM. These are the typical the database packages. You have the customer relationship management in the packages. Oracle and IBM are the role products. You have supply chain management applications, and then Oracle and IBM again, they are the leading packages. A lot more in the information technology era. So these includes the e-business software, scientific data, multimedia applications, the data analysis and decision support. And also GIS is one of the technical area where this DBMS is largely used for the application management systems. Now the advantages of this DBMS package over the traditional record keeping system is, with the DBMS you can store and manipulate large data sets. Once you have the data sets, say for example, if you have 1 lakh records in your data set, so by using the manual record keeping system, it is difficult to use, difficult to manipulate. But when you have a DBMS, that is a computer based tool, storing and manipulating the voluminous data sets becomes easy and then the handy. Sometimes it also becomes very handy if you can share the data from by used by many users. So the same data set can be used by many users at the same time. This is called as concurrent access. So concurrent access of the data sets becomes handy when you have the database in the picture. Sometimes the data integrity constraints to achieve the data correctness becomes very useful. So you can define the data constraint on your columns to achieve the data correctness, so that the data entry will be done accurately. One of the most important advantages of this database package is we have the query language support for flexible retrieval of the data. So data retrieval is the ultimate objective of any DBMS package. So query language support is qualified by the SQL. The language support is called as the structured query language support. By using this SQL standard, the extraction can be done for the flexible retrieval of the data. So here again we can put many conditions, so as per the requirement of the user. So sometimes it may be a simple condition, sometimes it may be a complex condition. DBMS provides backup and recovery functions to avoid the loss of data. So one can take regularly weekly backups or daily backups if the data is more critical. We can avoid unnecessary duplication of the data. So important aspect is our database should not have any duplication. If you have a duplication in your database, the application will be a little bit difficult to manage. So that's why whenever you create a database, the database should not have the redundancy, and then the self description of the database can be achieved. So suppose somebody is creating database, one should have a self description of the database, that is called as data dictionary, so that other person can see the database and then data dictionary to get the information about the the database, for what it is created, for where it is created, the objective of the database, etc. And then the security part also, it is very useful. User can get the privileges and authentication as per the eligibility. So the database administration mainly provides the user privileges and authorization for various users depending on the eligibility. After all, it is expert knowledge. Once you have the database, you can share with many people, and then you can reduce the overhead of recreating the database. So you can share the database to your domain people. Now, after listing out the advantages of DBMS package, the user of a DBMS can do important things like you can create a new database creating, you can insert the data into that, and then retrieval of the data, that is called as extraction of the data from the existing tables. I can update and modify the existing files, that is weekly updation or whenever it is required, and then the deletion of the data from the existing files if required, and removing existing files, empty or otherwise, from the database. So to do all these things, that is the functions of these databases, one should have a language support to define the database structure to manipulation. So we have many data models in the picture. So for creating, inserting the data, manipulation, retrieval, extraction, analysis, for all these things, data language support is required. So you have many more data models in the DBMS industry. So you have a flat file and attribute model, simply called as a sequential model, hierarchical model, we have network model, the relational model, and then finally the object-oriented model. So all are having their own advantages and disadvantages, but relational data model is more popular because it is simple and then flexible and which suits to GIS more relatively. So I will throw more concentration on the relational model, but just I will go through the flat file model, hierarchical model, network model, object-oriented model briefly. So the flat file attribute model is a simple model, just like our page, and then here in the flat file attribute model, the data is stored in the form of sentences. Each record is stored from left to right. At the end of the record, you will provide with a space. Once the space is encountered, the compiler will think that the record is ended here, so that qualifies the end of the record. So it is a flat file attribute model, or is a sequential data is sequentially stored from right to left. So in the paragraph mode, the data is stored. The next one is the hierarchical model. Data is organized in tree structure. Otherwise, the data is organized in the hierarchical structure. The relations among the different entities are defined by the organizations of the hierarchy. Here I am taking a university example. So in a university, typical university, the data is organized in the form of hierarchy, in a hierarchy model. In the university, you have university node. After that, you have departmentals. Several departments are there in the university, and also under departments you have the